right, it is September 9th, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and this is Higher Ed Live, Admissions Live. I'm your host, Andy Fuller, Director of Strategic Content at the University of Notre Dame, and today we are discussing the NACAC National Conference in Louisville, everything you need to know before you go. Before we get started, a reminder, Admissions Live is part of the Higher Ed Live network. All of these episodes offer you direct access to the best and brightest minds in education, and you can also be a part of these live broadcasts by sharing your knowledge. Tweet along with us by using the hashtag HigherEdLive. Today's live broadcast is powered, as always, by Platform Q Education's Conduit online engagement platform. You can learn how to integrate continuous online engagement into your marketing and enrollment plans using Conduit by visiting platformqedu.com. Also, all of our episodes are recorded. They're free and easy to access in the video archives of higheredlive.com. Or you can take Higher Ed Live with you on the go by subscribing to the podcast. And as you know, Higher Ed Live is produced by M. Stoner, a digital-first agency committed to tailored solutions that drive real results. Okay, NACAC National Conference 2019. I've got three guests ready to tell you everything you need to know about it. I want to introduce them to you right now. First, Emily Carnell is Assistant Director of Admissions at Lindsey Wilson College. Her primary responsibility there is working with prospective students and families, and she's passionate about helping young people along their journey to Lindsey Wilson. In addition to her professional responsibilities, Emily is an active member of the Kentucky Association for College Admission Counseling and the National Association for College Admission Counseling. Emily holds a bachelor's degree from Lindsey Wilson and a master's from Western Kentucky. Also joining us today, we have Billy Sarge. He is the enrollment and school counselor at St. Henry District High School. Now, prior to working at St. Henry, Billy started his professional career in higher education in 2005 at his alma mater, Thomas More College, where he started as an admission counselor and then eventually was director of admission. Since starting in higher education back in 2005, Billy has played an active role in, again, both the Kentucky Association and the National Association for College Admission Counseling. And finally, Kelly Land is the Senior Conference and Meetings Manager at NACAC. She is responsible for managing all of the speakers and educational offerings for the National Conference. In addition to speakers and education offerings, she also works with the Firsttimers Orientation. Now, this is Kelly's 7th NACAC National Conference, and she's an active member of the Professional Convention Management Association and has earned her CMP certification designation. So we've got a panel ready to answer all your questions, and if you have specific questions, make sure that you hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag HigherEdLive. I'll do my best to get to those questions as I see them. But first, I have a few questions of my own. So, all right, I've been to big conferences before, but NACAC strikes me as a very big conference, which is great. I mean, these things are electric, over 6,500 attendees. Emily, why don't we start with you? Maybe give me just kind of the who, what, where, when is the conference, where is it, all the kind of the basic information.
Yeah, so the conference is located at the Kentucky International Convention Center in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. The conference officially begins on Thursday, September 26th, and ends with the social on Saturday, September 28th. There are some pre-conference events that happen ahead of time, ahead of the conference, including college tours and meetings. Additionally, they will offer workshops and seminars for an additional fee that you can sign up for online. There are 2 places for conventions in Louisville, so remember that you're going to the Kentucky International Convention Center and not the Expo Center. All conference events will be held at the Kentucky International Convention Center. Some committee, affiliate, and outside events may be held at outside locations, but all of the conference events will happen at the Convention Center. Registration this year is split on 2 levels. So the main concourse has your badge printing, so make sure you bring your barcode, and the upper concourse is where you'll pick up your lanyard and materials.
Gotcha. Okay. So Kelly, let me ask you this. big conferences sometimes can be intimidating if you've not been there and you don't know kind of the lay of the land. Where should I go? What does this mean or that mean? That's why I think it's really cool that you guys have that First-Timers Orientation. What's that about exactly, though? How does that help people kind of get into the national conference?
Yeah, so you're right. Conferences are crazy, confusing, complicated, overwhelming, especially if you've never been to one of this size before. So if you think of your local affiliate conferences, they're maybe 100 to maybe 2,000 max, and this is massive. So First-Timers Orientation started many years ago, and it originally was created by the Professional Development Committee. Now is kind of curated by the Member Relations Committee and the Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee. Emily has actually a printout of what we give out at registration for first-timers. It's a horseshoe sticker. So all first-time attendees can pick up one of these. It's obviously not true to size there, but it's something to fit on your name badge. And then you can pick that up at registration. And then First-Timers Orientation is Thursday the 26th at 10 o'clock in Ballroom AB in the Convention Center. We start out doing some networking by each affiliate, so you can get to know people that are in your affiliate. And then we do a mini version of the Meet Your Match game, which is like a fan favorite at the NACAC conference. And then it goes into a panel of best practices. So over the summer, we sent an email out to first-time attendees and asked them, what do you want to know? What do you want to learn about? What are you afraid about? And they submitted some responses, and we've created a panel based on those needs. So it'll cover like how to navigate, what you should do for receptions, how to make a buddy, where you go for lunch, things like that to help really, ease some of the nerves that you may have about the process. So I'll be there as a panelist, so you'll see my face a lot throughout the conference, but it's just a real easy way for first-timers to feel like they're not alone, and an easy way to make a friend that you can kind of navigate with through the conference, especially if you're alone. So it's really fun.
Yeah, I think that's go ahead.
Sorry, we give out a grand prize at First-Timers Orientation at the very end, and it's a conference prize package for 2020 in Minneapolis. So it includes your registration, your flight and hotel accommodations for the following year as a thank you. So if you stay to the end, you get a prize. You could get. I'm not above a bribe.
Very good. No, bribes are well within play. I think that's great. Billy, let me ask you. So you worked in admission now, both at the secondary and post-secondary level. It's interesting to me that there's a lot of value maybe for both of those areas here at this conference. What would someone, or maybe what do you personally get out of going to the national conference? Again, thinking about both of those audiences.
Yeah, Andy, I think that you and Kelly kind of hit it on the head there at first, is saying, coming to a conference like this, it can be overwhelming for people that are first timer or people who have been coming for a while because it's a new area, new different types of sessions, which we're really excited about the sessions we'll be offering this year. Have some really great presenters. But, coming into any conference, it's very important to be able to really just put yourself out there, meet as many people as you can. Networking is something I think a lot of people like to talk about, but there's so much more beyond just networking. We always tell people you get value in this by getting some ELA credit or GCE, which is continuing education credit. So the idea is that counselors at the secondary side get credit for being able to attend the conference. And then also one of the things that is really exciting is that you have a lot of colleges that will be set up for a college fair. So you'll be able to have high school counselors be able to walk around, see colleges from all across the country, be able to share that information with their students and take that back home with them after the conference is over. So those are the things I feel like are very most important to me, is the networking piece. You're able to get some credit for the secondary counselors, and also networking with the college reps or in the college fair to be able to provide more information for their students.
Yeah. Emily, anything to add there? I mean, what do you've been involved with KA, CAC, and then the National Association as well. What about this conference resonates most maybe for you?
I love to meet people that do what I do, that, you can meet other higher ed professionals that get, the day in, day out work that you're doing, and to, you know, feed off of each other, give each other ideas, and kind of see people from, you know, your state and then also from all over the country that, you know, you're kind of all on the same battleground together. So it's really interesting to learn different perspectives and see how people at all different levels are, you know, working. And so that networking aspect is really interesting to me. Of course, being able to, you know, see all the different vendors that are set up and learn about different technologies that are available and things like that. And then just to kind of second what Billy said about, you know, from the high school side, having guidance counselors or people that are working in the secondary side, you know, working with them to, you know, have them see the higher ed side and, you know, gaining information to be able to take back. It's an awesome opportunity for a place like Lindsay, you know, a small school or something like that, to be able to kind of, you know, network through that. And then also, definitely, if you're interested in, if you're going to be at the conference and you're wondering, you know, how can I make the most of my experience, or how can I, you know, get involved while I'm at the conference, definitely try to go to your affiliate annual membership meeting. They will be on Thursday, starting at 4:45. So definitely get information about that. And then also, I would really encourage people to attend a special interest group meetup spread throughout Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's all listed in the program book. And so if you have something that you're specifically interested in, it would be a great idea for you to try to go to one of the meetups for the special interest groups. And that would be a great way to network on something that you're interested in specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, the networking is key at conferences like this. A lot of times, you know, the sessions are great, but sometimes most of the benefit is that conversation you have, you know, over coffee in the morning or in a session break or whatever with someone, like you said, Emily, who is, you know, doing what you do and kind of working through some of the same challenges. But you did talk about the tech and some of the innovation that's out there in the industry. So. Kelly, I wonder if you could maybe answer this. So what are some of the new things that maybe we can expect if we go to this year's national conference? I think anyone who works in the admission field knows that it's not just about you know, planning school visits or hosting tours and things like that. So can you give me a flavor for, you know, what are some of the new strategies or the new thinking that might be presented at the conference, maybe at the Learning Lounge or the Tech Lab or something like that?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have over 150 different educational opportunities and about 600 plus speakers this year at the 2019 conference. We select, just a little transparency, we have the call for proposals where speakers can submit sessions based on interest, popularity, current events, things like that, and they're reviewed by members, vendors, you know, affiliates, and they are chosen based on different categories to have a balanced program. The traditional education sessions are A through G, and they're, you know, your typical panels, but there's a lot of very interesting dialogue. So we have 3 featured sessions, 2 around a lot of the legal issues in admission right now, and then 1 that's on Friday morning is on the varsity blues scandal. So we have a 9-person panel moderated by Jeff Scalingo, and he will ask some of these leaders throughout the entire admission spread about, you know, some of the things that are happening there. The Tech Lab is really focused on anything to do with technology. So how to better have a toolkit that you can use with your students and your families on either side of the desk to better your day-to-day work and make it a little bit easier on you. So they have things about social media, counseling tools, websites, and things like that. In the Learning Lounge, that's styled more like TED Talks, so quick 30-minute presentations that get to the point of something rather than be 75 minutes of tons of research. They're very quick. And then on the other side of the Tech Lab, or the Learning Lounge, there's exhibitor presentations. So vendors can showcase their new products and services. Something we're really proud of that's new and different is the Career Hub and the Global Hub. We've had them each year, but we've kind of reframed the way that they'll be. The Global Hub talks about education in the global setting. Different countries are represented. So sessions like studying in Australia or how to obtain an Irish law degree, things like that. And then the Career Hub is really focused on your personal professional development, which is something we found didn't really appear in our conference. You learn how to be a better admission counselor, a better school counselor, but how do you find a new job, or how do you cultivate your staff and your team members to be better professionals? So that's there. And then the last thing that's brand new that I'm really excited about is our wisdom exchange. So we like to label everything, and it's really just a fancy name for a roundtable discussion. So we've picked facilitators, and they are going to facilitate conversations on different topics. And it's really just a way for healthy dialogue. We hear all the time that you learn all these really amazing things, but you can never really have that open dialogue with people about these topics. So that's what the wisdom exchange will be. So there's tons of options. The best way to find out about all of the education is in the mobile app. It's open, it's updated, and that's the place where all of the changes will be. I know people love program books, and I know that it's easier to understand and it's better to have and it's memory, blah, blah, but the mobile app is where you will find session changes, titles, rooms, everything. So the most up-to-date information is already in the mobile app. And yeah, that's
Beautiful.
Really it.
Okay. The international aspect of that is really kind of interesting. So there's a professional development aspect there too, but also you're talking about internationalizing your campuses as well, bringing in students from outside U.S. borders, which is huge, I think, for any U.S. university right now.
Yeah, and there's 8 sessions in the Global Hub, and the Global Hub and the Career Hub are in the same room. So Ballroom C on the main concourse, it'll have 4 different stages in the room, and then a very interactive wall in the middle. That's really neat and interesting that we're trying to do this year. And the idea is that you can just kind of hop around in any of the stages and kind of see what's going on at the same time. A lot of the sessions this year are based on some of the complaints that we've heard in the past, especially if they're in a stage situation or on headphones and radio, so that it controls the sound, especially in the exhibit hall where the tech learning and exhibitor presentations are. So yeah, especially with a lot of the content that we have that there's so many sessions I can't even highlight all the ones that I love this year, but I've seen all the presentations because they were due 2 weeks ago and everything looks really great. So there's nothing that you won't see at the conference. There's a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah. Billy, is there a session or two that kind of, if you've had a chance to look at this year's schedule, is there a session or two that's kind of popped out to you, like, I'm checking that one, I'm making sure I'm getting to that one?
Yeah, I know we've already talked about it, but the session that I look forward to here in our state affiliate, Kentucky ACAC, any other state affiliates or the national ones, the special interest groups are honestly my absolute favorite. It's an opportunity to be able to allow your audience to be able to build some dialogue and just be able to hear what other schools are going through, whether it's a secondary, post-secondary side. You can have your presenters that have topics or questions they present to the group. But that honestly is my most favorite thing. I know that I'm LAC co-chair, but I hope that I can maybe sneak away to be able to have a break to be able to go to one of those sessions. It's my absolute favorite. If Kelly would let me, I'd like to get a chance to go to that. But those are the ones that I know that sometimes those are usually sometimes like a little bit later in the afternoon, and people are ready to maybe take a nap because they were so busy visiting all the vendors, going to other sessions and things. But I highly encourage people to make sure they block off time to be able to go to those sessions.
Yeah, this may not be the best venue to announce that you're going to sneak out of anything, any obligation, but
right.
that's fine. Right. It looks like we had a little bit of trouble with the live stream and getting the link up. So I'm going to go back to our first question just for a second, if you guys don't mind. Emily, can you kind of give us the overview of NACAC 2019? Give us the when and where, and what can folks expect, kind of lay of the land there.
Absolutely, yeah. So the conference is located at the Kentucky International Convention Center in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. The conference officially begins on Thursday, September 26th, and it ends with the social on Saturday, September 28th. There are some pre-conference events that are going to happen ahead of the conference, including college tours and meetings. Also, they will offer workshops and seminars for an additional fee. There are 2 places for conventions in Louisville, so please remember that you're not going to the Expo Center, you are going to the Convention Center. All conference events will be held at the Kentucky International Convention Center, and some committee affiliate and outside events may be held at outside locations, but all conference events will be held at the International Convention Center. Registration this year is split onto 2 different levels. So the main concourse has your badge printing, so make sure you bring your barcode. And the upper concourse is where you will pick up your lanyard and materials.
Yeah. All right, good. And just a reminder, if you've just joined us, all of these episodes are recorded, and so they're available at higheredlive.com in the video archives, or subscribe to the Higher Ed Live podcast. And Kelly, you mentioned that if you're a first-timer, the First-Timer Orientation, great place to kind of get your feet wet, understand what's where, and things like that. So that's a really valuable resource, and all that information's on the conference website as well. But as we all know, there are, well, actually, Emily, let me ask you this. I asked Billy the same question, but are there sessions that you've kind of circled that, hey, when I go, I'm going to make sure that I check this out?
Yeah, like Billy said, I'm definitely interested in the special interest group sessions. And then kind of to speak on what Kelly was talking about, I'm really interested in the Global Hub and checking that out. And then also in the, again, like we all go to conferences and sit in on sessions about like how to become a better admission counselor and things like that. But I'm really interested in the professionalism aspect of it. So kind of how to like cultivate teams and leadership and professionalism in that way. So that's what that's what I'm most interested in.
Yeah. If you have a question for our guests, be sure to tweet us at #HigherEdLive. But I did want to ask this because, you know, part of going to conferences is being in what for some folks is a new city and seeing what that city has to offer. So this year it's in Louisville. And, you know, we have some folks who are really close to the action there. So I want maybe each of you to give me, all right, what are 2 or 3 things that I should check out in Louisville if I have just a few days there? Billy, why don't we start to you, and I'll give you bonus points if you mention bourbon.
Well, Andy, no, great question. So I personally don't drink at all, but there's people there that will. So yeah, that is something a lot of people like to talk about is bourbon. But the thing I love the most about it is where the convention center is located there in downtown Louisville. So many cool restaurants, bars, shopping areas in the central location there downtown Louisville that are easy within walking distance, or, you know, riding a bird without bourbon in your system. But yeah, so I mean, you have a lot of opportunities that are right around the convention center. And I know that Emily and Kelly can be able to speak on some other types of places to go, but eating and shopping, there's so many different places around there easy for people to walk to.
Emily, what about you?
Yeah, so if you've never been, I grew up in Louisville. It's a super fun city. I love being able to spend time there when I'm able. Often spend my weekends there. It's just an hour and a half from where I'm located. There's so many fun, neat, unique things to do in Louisville. Obviously, if you've never been to the city before, I would definitely encourage you to go to Churchill Downs. That's obviously a renowned location in Louisville, known across the globe. So you definitely want to put your eyes on it while you're in Louisville. Snap pictures. Also, Louisville has a lot of really cool museums. If that's something that, you know, you're interested in, they're right downtown. Museum Row is right downtown, located very close to the convention center, but like the Louisville Slugger Museum, the Muhammad Ali Center, places like that. I would be remiss not to mention those. They're just really unique and interesting places. And then, of course, there's tons of downtown. There's tons of distilleries if you're interested, even if you don't drink, or even if you don't drink bourbon, if you want to go, you know, on a tour or check out a distillery just to see how it's done. It's educational. It's interesting. So I would definitely mention that as well.
Kelly, what are your picks?
So I've been to Louisville now, I think 4 or 5 times. So every time I go, it's a different experience. One thing I would say, the LAC has done a great job this summer of doing Takeover Tuesdays on the NACAC Instagram. So each individual of the LAC has submitted like their favorite places to eat, their favorite things to see and things to do. So the good thing is a lot of the vendors, colleges have decided to do receptions at a lot of these places like Churchill Downs, Muhammad Ali, the Slugger Museum, some of the theaters. So a lot of our attendees will get to go to these places without actually having to take time out of their conference schedule. But some of my favorite places that I've been so far have been, if you want something quick to eat at lunchtime, we have obviously some food in the convention center, but across the street at the Omni Louisville, there's Falls City Market. So they have some pizza and some like different, it's kind of like a little market of fresh food and drinks and things like that. You can get some tchotchkes and stuff there. There's also a bourbon library if you're looking for that. That's also over there. There's a ton of quick stuff across the street from the convention center. Like everyone mentioned, there's a ton of food trucks right around the outside for lunch. And then, of course, there's a very, unique Panera Bread. If you're looking for a chain or something that you're familiar with, that's down there too. But you will get to see 4th Street Live for the NACAC Social, which is, there's, similar ones in every city in Maryland, places like that, where there's a bunch of different cultivated restaurants. And keep in mind too, Louisville just hosted Top Chef. So there's tons of great new chefs and restaurants in town. They have a really great food scene. I wasn't sure necessarily what to expect going to Kentucky, especially in Louisville. I've had KFC, but I was like, is everything going to be like this? But it's very unique. It's been very unique and the food's been great. And if you're looking for anything at all, also keep on our Twitter, the NACAC Conference Twitter account. We tweet out like best vegetarian restaurants, best vegan restaurants, and then some unique French fry places and milkshake places, like things that you should definitely hit on your bucket list. So keep your eye on our Twitter and Facebook. But I'm not a big bourbon drinker, and I've enjoyed all of the places that I've been able to go so far. So we'll see. Maybe this time it'll change.
Yes, more than just KFC and bourbon. That's
yeah.
Great.
Take that away from what I just said.
The 4th Street area is great. I've been to Louisville a few times, and I think even just last 10 days ago or so, Notre Dame football team was down there, so there was a pep rally. So it's really kind of a cool atmosphere, cool vibe they've got down there as well. Kelly, you mentioned the Twitter handle. What was that again? NACAC
Conference.
Okay. And for best information.
NACAC headquarters. The Instagram's NACAC headquarters. The Twitter is NACAC Conference. And then you could also look at the NACAC HQ Twitter and Facebook too. Most of the conference related updates will be on the NACAC Twitter moving forward. But we reach a larger audience, of course, on the regular NACAC HQ site. So just keep your eye on all of it if you're not already.
Good deal. All right. NACAC 19. It's going to be a great conference. I want to thank my guests, Billy Sarge, Emily Carnell, Kelly Land, for joining us for this edition of Higher Ed Live, Admissions Live. Again, if you joined us late, the episode will be re-airing in the archive form on higheredlive.com. For now, good afternoon.